pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Make a motion to accept the previous minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report, Shahana?
$720.30 was received from real estate transfer tax, $75 from code inspections, and I just received $100. I just received it, so that was from code inspections, $100. The interest in budget account was $275.48. The interest in the general account was 16 cents. And for the monthly budget, I printed out the repair expense separately as it is supposed to be out of the budget. So the 49.37 shows, that row shows the repairs and maintenance for the government building, and $3,713.40 was spent. And other repair expense is for machinery, which was $14,825.33. So these two amounts are adjusted in the budget that you are looking at.
Okay.
So those two rows are adjusted, and I pointed it out in the last two statements. 49.37 is 3713.40. And the row 437, the adjustment is $14,825.32. That's the adjustment I did for that resolution that you
Okay.
made. So that's it.
Anything else?
That's it.
There's no other reports. Okay, Roadmaster.
All right, since the last meeting, we've been working on several different locations in the township. The paving's been completed up on Moon Valley Road and Pine Acres, and we've been replacing some curbing up on Moon Valley Road that was destroyed over the last few years with snow plows because we hit it. We made up our own blacktop curbing machine to put these curbs down. They've turned out pretty good. Also under my report, we received our request to renew our winter maintenance agreement from PennDOT to do Foster Hill Road. And the total payment for the winter for Foster Hill is $5,620.81. We've been doing that for like, I think this is our 9th or 10th year. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we sign the agreement with PennDOT for the winter maintenance of Foster Hill.
Is that the paving stuff?
No, but that's the snowplow.
Oh, okay.
Has it gone up? Has it gone up?
Goes up 1-2% every year.
1.7%.
1%, 1.7%.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
You just have to sign that, right?
Yep.
Nobody else does. Anything else then?
No?
Okay. We don't have any zoning, public participation number 1. She was first.
Erica Burnett, Westfall Township. Missed a couple meetings, but I have had time over the past week to read the letter from the Planning Commission in support of the amendment change. And I noticed that in the letter, they say that this will bring little to no effect in Milford Township. That increasing the population by up to 1,600 people would simply bring county population back up to 2010 levels. So I just wanted to stand up and voice my opinion that I feel like that is fuzzy math, that You can make numbers say anything. And when you say it like that, it doesn't sound so bad. But when you look further into it and you think, well, that doesn't sound so bad, but you would be adding those 1,600 people to Milford Township, which Milford Township at 13 square miles area is only 2.2% of the area of Pike County, which is 567 square miles, 567 square miles. So I just wanted to make my voice heard that I feel adding that amount of people to such a small percentage of space is not livable, and it would definitely bring negative impacts to our community.
Tricia Lefty, Delaware Township. So I don't know a lot about the procedures of things, but I know at the last meeting, there was a letter from Mr. Seacrest, and then Mr. Clark had suggested regarding the county that Mr. Seacrest independently goes to see the.
Didn't hear anything back. I mean, Gary thought that we hadn't mentioned anything.
I don't know whether they had their meeting or not.
Yeah, there is a meeting that has been scheduled. The motion last meeting was to have Mr. Seacrest meet with the Director of Community Planning, Mr. Mrzinski. Mr. Seacrest did reach out to Mr. Mrzinski. It's my understanding that Mr. Mrzinski wanted to have his solicitor, the county solicitor, present at the meeting. So Attorney Farley called me, and the meeting is scheduled. Don't hold me to it, but it is scheduled in Attorney Farley's, I believe, on next Thursday.
Is that standard protocol to have like just the chair of planning rather than have a meeting take into what the county had to say? Like I'm just not familiar.
Well, the chairman of the
chair
two
to go
commissions are going to
see.
meet to see if they can resolve the differences.
And that's a standard, yeah?
Yeah, it's a workshop meeting.
Okay.
This workshop, would it have to be announced? It would have to be...
No, it's a meeting between the chairman of one commission and the chairman of another commission. I don't know why we have to be present, but the county solicitor insisted that he be present, so.
Just to clarify, that's next Thursday, so
I
after
don't hold me
next
to the time.
Tuesday's planning commission meeting?
Yes, it is after the meeting.
Tentatively.
Yeah.
Is it open to the public?
No.
Why not?
It's our public meeting.
Public meeting.
It's two chairmen meeting together.
So in that case, if it holds to that, to Thursday, then the planning is not expected to act on it next week.
I don't see how.
And they'll have to wait till the following, at least the workshop meeting in September to act on it?
You'd have to ask planning.
Ask planning next week. Okay.
I can't speak for the planning commission.
Well, I'm asking you about the legality
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
Would they be permitted to vote
No, they
in
wouldn't be.
anticipation?
I don't think they'd be able to discuss it, not without any guidance at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the meeting tried to be set before the planning commission meeting, but we weren't able to come up with dates.
We'll try to get the solicitors then.
That was the
It's a
problem.
little harder.
That was the problem, Rachel.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay. Thank you. Good to go?
John Kameen, Milford Borough. I have a couple of, I think, simple questions. I've noticed that this developer in the property in question has used something called a TIF district in Monroe County to finance some of the infrastructure necessary. Can you explain to me how a TIF district works?
Not really.
Give them your bank account and then they charge you for it.
Okay,
I mean, in general,
yeah.
I can explain in general, but I don't,
Is it something that's being considered here?
no.
No.
And is it something that could be precluded if the zoning change goes into effect?
Again, that's pure speculation on my part. I would not know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you answers to questions that aren't in front of us.
Yeah, just as you consider this ordinance, I think it would be interesting to see if it could possibly be precluded, because it does have an impact on how the tax dollars are spent. Oh, I have another question. I noticed that there's a sign on the property right now. The developer has a sign. Are they required to have a sign permit for that?
No, real estate signs aren't required.
It's not a real estate sign though. It's a developer seeking people to somehow be involved. So I mean, I recognize there's a chant sign in the yard, and I see those all over the county. Like my neighbor has a Keller Williams sign in their yard, but I believe that this sign is actually doesn't fall under that because it's soliciting something different, and they're not the property owner.
There's a second sign on the property.
What is that way?
So there's obviously a sale pending sign, and then there's another sign
That's the
that
sign I saw.
that's got vine. I mean, it's not new.
It's been there for
It's been there for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if they have a permit for that.
It's all overgrown with vines.
I was gonna say, that's why I can't see it.
Yeah, oh no, you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, notice when you leave tonight, I mean, if they don't have a sign permit for it, then the sign should probably come down, because I believe there is
Well, we'll inform the code officer.
yeah, and then the third question I have is, I understand that the cap is 100 apartments, is that correct? In the proposal as it exists right now that may,
There's really not any proposal.
in the zoning change that may happen at some indescript point in the future. How was that 100 number arrived at? Why was it not 15 or 60 or 22 or, like, is there, I just want to understand, was there a methodology employed that this number was arrived at?
We didn't come up with it. That
So it was given,
planning.
it was given from the
to
county
planning.
planner?
No, go to the planning.
It came from
Didn't come from.
Milford Township Planning. Okay.
Did you want to say anything about?
I was just going to state that we're not, my name is Doug Olmsted. We're the potential developers for the property that a lot of people have been talking about. We're not considering a TIF at this point in time, and we don't anticipate using a TIF for this piece of property at any point in the future. But just to let people know that the TIF involves 3 different entities to weigh in on this process. 1 is the township, 2 is the county, and 3 is the school district. We have to meet with all 3 of those entities. Those 3 entities have to join together in a committee. They have to review the proposal. They have to evaluate the proposal for each of their individual organizations. And then based on that, they can either say yay or nay. But there has to be 100% agreement on basically all of those entities before any TIF can be considered as part of the project is concerned. But this scope of work is dramatically less than what is being considered down in Monroe County, which is a project that's 120 acres, and it's not financially feasible to do a TIF for this particular project.
So is that an assurance that you would not at some point seek a TIF?
Who are you directing the question to?
So
The
the
developer.
developer, is that an assurance to this group here that you would not at any point in the future solicit that type of benefit?
I can't provide a positive yay or nay with respect to that, because all I can tell you is what's going on as far as the laws are concerned at this point in time. But ordinances and items like that change over a period of time, and if situations change that a TIF might become financially feasible for a lower sized project, we might consider it, but right now, there is no intent to go for a TIF for this project.
So you mentioned the project in Monroe County. Was that always going to be a TIF project, or did that occur after a certain period of time?
No, that was always anticipated to be a TIF project.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I have something,
Oh, I'm
if you
sorry.
don't mind. Amy Eisenberg, Milford Township. I do recognize that it's prior to your tenure, Mrs. Lords and Mr. Williams. But in the April 30th issue of the Pike County Courier, there was an article titled "Business Boom Predicted for Pike If Only Zoning Will Change." Per that article, Mike Sullivan, the executive director of the Pike County Economic Development Authority, is quoted as presenting studies demonstrating that for every dollar of revenue that commercial and industrial properties bring in, the cost of services is 29 cents. Working and open land cost 37 cents. He said residential properties actually lose money, costing local taxpayers $1.19 in services for every dollar of revenue. I don't know what your understanding is of the ramifications of high-density housing as impacted by this proposed zoning amendment, but my questions to you are, what will an influx of new residents cost the taxpayers of Milford Township and Pike County? And additionally, why would you, as Milford Township supervisors, pursue an option that will cost those taxpayers more money?
I don't, what, I'm sorry, sir. Did you want it? Go ahead.
Actually, yes, I have a proposal that may be germane to help answer her question. As a developer, we stand ready to be able to make a new presentation or a reintroduction of what we're proposing for that particular site, because a lot of the people that have been in these meetings were not at the presentation that was previously made to the township. So we're willing to make a new presentation to the township that explains what it is we would like to do with the property, along with our consultants, and stand ready to answer any questions that they may have at that point in time. Again, this is not directly germane to the zoning ordinance amendment that is before you, but there has been a lot of questions being raised with respect to our project. So we stand ready, if you would like us to come in and make a new presentation to the Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission, it's a joint type of meeting, to explain what it is we're trying to accomplish. We'd be more than happy to do that.
With all due respect, sir, my question was not for you, it was for my...
It's for me, and
right.
I do know what you were talking about.
And it's a
I do know that.
it's a
something to
concern.
consider. I don't know the numbers, because I don't have a calculator in front of me to run it.
But you would acknowledge that
But
Mike
absolutely
Sullivan
I
is
do.
deeply entrenched in this community.
Absolutely, Mike is right,
And for our supervisors
Yes.
to consider
Yes.
a plan that's going to cost us 90
Absolutely.
cents more, just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
If the gentleman is willing to make that presentation, don't you think the supervisor should hold off on making any kind of decision with respect to the amendment
Just your name
until we
first,
are
sir.
able to see
Mr.
what they're
Supervisor.
proposing?
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Chuck O'Neill.
Yeah.
I live in
Sorry.
Milford.
Yes,
Milford Borough.
Milford Borough, yeah. Mr.
Yes, Milford Borough, Pike County,
Okay.
since 1982.
Well, it seems like it's going to keep on getting pushed, because already we have now, the lawyers aren't going to meet. So I'm not worried about it coming to fruition anytime soon.
Well, I think that this is a logical step,
It is.
though,
I-
so that the rest of us could actually see
Absolutely.
what is being proposed.
I'm
and it-
trying to get your questions in, and then I can take a breath and we can go on and I have to make I'll have to make it, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, I remember Mr. Olinger came in here. Oh, yeah, Fred Weber, Milford Borough.
Yes.
I thought it was known and hated, but that's all right. They came in and have already made a presentation, and to me, a second presentation would just be really bad optics.
Were you here?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Oh, I absolutely was. I was asking questions
But
like...
there are a lot of people that weren't here, so don't you think it would be fair to them to see it?
Well, isn't this a decision that should be made absent of this? I mean, if you don't have a proposal in front of you.
No.
Right. So why do we need the developer here? There's no proposal in front of you, right? So I'm thinking that this has to stand on its own, never mind legend. Or am I wrong?
I think that's a good point.
My concern as a taxpayer is that Legend can come to this community and make the money they want and leave town, while the rest of us will be left to deal with the ramifications of it. And I agree with Fred. I believe that it should be done without the proposal on the table. I don't think you contour a zoning change based on a developer.
The only thing that's pending is the zoning change.
Is the zoning change, so fine.
No, but, exactly, so why have Legend come in?
Because you know what, I try to appease everybody. I
Okay.
really, truly do.
I'm-
Fred, I really do.
I know, I get it, but I'm just, if
I
it's
mean,
bad
it
optics
wouldn't
and
be-
it just doesn't seem to be the right path. This needs to stand on its own. This is a paradigm shift, you know, I mean,
Truly
this-
noted, truly noted, Fred.
okay.
Thank you.
And I agree with that statement. We're not trying to force ourselves as far as making a presentation is concerned. The only reason we made the offer was because so many people that have been in these meetings over the last few weeks have been consistently bringing up this project, and the vast majority of them have not been there for the original presentation. So we were just offering this as a way to introduce them to the project. So we're not trying to force ourselves on the township. We're just putting the offer out.
Couldn't the drawings and all of the appropriate materials be put online so anyone could view them?
They've never been submitted to
never
the
been
township.
It's never been submitted to them.
There's no application pending.
There's
Well,
nothing
if there's no
pending.
application, why would we even be talking about this?
Talking about a zoning change, it's the only, as I just said, the only thing pending in front of the board is a zoning change.
And that's what should be considered.
And again, the only reason why we opted to make the presentation, again, what we did do previously, is because so many of the people are pulling this ordinance change to our project. If you want to separate the two, that is fine, but the offer is there if you want.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
How many other 20-acre parcels are there in the borough as per your build-out, or in the township as per the build-out study that this zoning?
This is all gone over, Jonathan.
Understood, it's a fair question though, I mean,
I
I
know
like.
it's a fair
Yeah, I
question.
have the study in front of me, I can't answer.
When this gentleman says that it's being tied to his project, he's the only one here proposing something like this
There was
right
like
now.
4 or 5.
So like four,
But we
okay.
had, yeah, it wasn't a lot.
I don't know.
I just don't see anybody
Yeah, I
else
don't
here
think so.
proposing something like this on
Yeah.
a separate parcel.
Yeah. Okay. I want to go to South Carolina, you know that, don't you?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
I don't even know
Well,
if,
is it directed toward the board or directed toward the developer?
it's directed toward the developer, if he's
Okay,
answering
well,
some
maybe you
questions.
guys could talk outside
Okay.
afterwards. I mean,
Thank you.
you know,
I'm more than happy to do
I
that.
appreciate it very much. Thank you. Okay. Correspondence, Shahan.
From Delaware Water Gap, the National Park Service announces updated regulations. It answers questions like, where can I go camping? Where can I park my car for an overnight backpacking trip? Am I allowed to have a campfire? These questions. This correspondence is from Mr. Scott Macia. He approved the 2019 paving project. And this is a letter from Mr. Di Lorenzo. It's about the new position of alternate sewage enforcement position. I forgot to check the email. I don't know if I got the resume for this new person. I'll go check the email.
I just got a text from him, he only got home now, he's only starting to work on it.
Robert
Oh.
Lorenzo, how are you, sir?
All right. Greg Berry, municipal. He sent us the auction result on DPW related equipment. They send it every Friday. Agenda and meeting minutes from COG, Council of Governments. The meeting minutes is for the meeting of June 20, 2019. I went to the meeting and they handed the Philip Morris USA initiative. They have 10,000 litter stands to collect cigarette leftovers in communities nationwide. these are free litter stands to place at location you feel are most in need. And the interested municipalities can contact, the contact number is there. A news bulletin from PZAX. This correspondence is from Mike Brzezinski. He said that there's a software that can take pictures of every 10 feet of your municipal roads. It can enter it into a computer program to run the analysis to determine the condition, and then provide a detailed digital map of conditions with access to the image for, and this is for 1 year, and the cost is at least $5,000. This correspondence is from Jody Menhim, Westport Township. It's about, there's a meeting on September 9, 2019 at 10 a.m. It's about Samaritan EMS. An update from HRG for the Act 537 Special Study Progress Report. It was issued on August 7. I got it from Ms. Brewers. This email is from Pennsylvania Coasters. There is a 2019 Pennsylvania Procurement Expo and Forum, and it needs to be registered. I got the fully executed amendment number 1 for Pike County Scenic Rural Character Preservation Program grant contract. Is for Eastern Pike Regional Act 537 sewage plant, and it's signed by all the parties: Pike County Commissioners, Milford Township, Milford Borough, Westport Township, and Matamoros Borough. A newsletter from Upper Delaware. This correspondence is from Mr. Solicitor. It was about actually I got it a long time ago. I should have read it earlier.
You don't need to read it.
Okay.
It's too long.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, old business, there's nothing?
I would just like to ask, I had shown you before the meeting, I received an email from Cody Salmon at HRG. And Mr. Salmon had sent to me for approval the initial letter to go to Milford Township residents. And I approved the letter with him changing the dates, but I think he wants the
Another
board,
motion?
I think he wants the board to do so by motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the cover letter from HRG for the, doing the septic
Feasibility.
surveys.
Yep, survey.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's all I have.
Okay, new business. I think the new business is going to get put on the
Continued.
shelf until we have more information, right?
Yes.
And
Okay.
we're gonna get a resume from Mr. Cobb, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the same with the secretary, right?
Yes.
Okay. Other public participation.
I have a question. Milford, Bill Pittman, Milford Township. How many miles are in the township? How many miles are approved?
Road?
Just over 13 miles.
So that $5,000 thing is not in the works or anything, right? That's just somebody proposing to do that.
Yes.
It's to cover 13 miles. Yeah, okay. Thank
You're a
you.
little force, aren't you?
Yeah. A little crazy.
Anyone?
On TMS, I just wanted to ask if the township has a contract with the Milford Fire Department or the Westall Fire Department. Is there any contract that governs our agreements for fire and for ambulance?
Just we help out and you pay the money.
Yeah,
Just an understanding.
just been an understanding. For as long as I've been here, we've never signed a contract for that.
Yeah.
And the reason Westfall responds is the municipal agreements that they have.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one more question? I'm looking at my calendar and I may be missing some meetings. Is there any intention by Milford Township to put the minutes of supervisors meetings online? And what?
They're on.
They're online after
Okay.
they're approved.
Okay,
After
so
it's
this,
approved.
what you approved tonight will
Will
be,
be on
Yeah.
Okay, so if a resident wants to engage the supervisors on something discussed last meeting, there's not an opportunity to do so because the minutes
have been
aren't.
approved.
Right, okay. So that's really tricky. Is
Unless-
that standard
Well,
operating?
no, unless they're, would you
Yes.
have a change?
Yes, that's
That is?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Fred?
So, one more question. I've been trying to get the meeting minutes for January and February. They're not posted, so I'm guessing they were never approved because it's going to take 30 days to respond.
No, they were approved, it was before.
Minutes of what?
January, February.
Supervisors meetings?
Yeah.
They're approved.
They're approved.
Well, then why did,
They're not on the website?
I started posting in February.
Okay, so can you,
not.
can
If
you
you want
tell me
January,
what's in?
February, come and see the secretary, she'll give you a copy of it.
that's fine. It was odd though, because they sent in an email
We just
request.
started.
We just started our,
The website.
Website.
just
So,
starting
so I'm
to
sorry,
do
so
that.
you can't back enter things?
Well,
Yeah, they're
no, I just
catching up.
asked her to, yes,
They're catching up.
yeah.
Okay, but my question goes back to when I submitted the request from with a right to know form, I was informed that I was going to have to wait 30 days to get these. But like you said, I can just come down here and get a copy. So why
lines
didn't?
are approved.
Yep, well, okay, so why didn't it just say that, come down and get a copy?
Well, now, you know.
Well, technically, public documents are supposed to be requested. But that's,
And, you know, just,
that's a subject for another day.
just from a housekeeping standpoint, that website, that's not finished, is it?
No.
It's a work in progress.
Work in progress.
Anybody working on it? No, I mean, actually, the
We have the-
formatting, the look, that's not Johanna. You had a web guy come in, a webmaster come in and do that. So you're telling me he's done?
I have no idea,
I
that's
have no
Gary
idea,
Clark.
that's Gary Clark.
Okay, all right.
Next meeting.
Thank
Yep.
you. Oh, I did want to just drop off one more thing. This was from the Pocono Record. Don't worry, I'm okay. And this is Lehman Township seeking input on quality of life for residents. So they actually went out and they're doing a survey to see what their residents are looking for in the future as to how they want it developed and what they feel they want as quality of life. And I think this is certainly a good model.
Thanks, Fred.
Sure.
Thanks.
For us to emulate, and at least take a look at that and consider it. And I wish we would have used something like this on the zoning proposal that's in front of us, to be honest.
Okay, anybody else?
I make a motion, we pay the bills and adjourn.
I second that, all in favor?
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, I signed
Here are
it.
the receipts, are they signed?